Now that we have our door made and set up, what we're going to do is go through and make the changes to our barricade that actually allows us to play the animation and everything when we press F on it. So for example, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this and paste it. And I'm going to change this static mesh, the second one. I'm just going to change it to collision mesh. Now we could be using the physics asset for this, but I'd rather not personally. Then in the .cpp, I copy this include for the static mesh and paste it in and change it to skeletal. So skeletal mesh component. Same thing for mesh component. Change it to U skeletal mesh component and change the create default sub object. First, I'm just going to copy and paste this. So collision mesh equals our static mesh, and the mesh component equals our skeletal mesh. Like so. So we have our skeletal mesh and our static mesh. So I'm going to set mesh component. Well, actually, I'm already doing that. Equals our root, like so. And then collision mesh will be the child of the mesh component. So that way, whenever the animation plays, it should hopefully play with it. So let's go ahead and set up our animation to play. So under Barricade, I'm going to copy this U property. I want to make a U animation asset and call it open animation. Then in barricade.cpp, we're going to take our mesh component. I'm going to comment this out here. Mesh component, play animation. Then the first parameter is going to be our animation asset, so open animation. The second parameter is going to be whether or not it's looping. So we don't want it to loop, we want it to play once. So we're going to pass in false. And then we can go ahead and compile. It'd probably be wise to do a check to make sure open animation is valid first. Check if open animation is valid. I'm going to restart the editor. Okay, here's our barricade. Probably might have to remake it. Yeah, because we just have root mesh or root and collision mesh. So I'm gonna delete it. Go to our C++ class and remake the blueprint version. So BP underscore barricade in our usables folder. Here's our mesh component. Set the skeleton mesh to our first door. Collision mesh is going to be the cube. And we are going to scale that cube to roughly fit the door. Doesn't have to be all that precise. Just about like so, and I'm happy enough with that. So now we select the root or the actor itself, the open animation, set that to first door, slide right, compile, and save. So let's click and drag the blueprint out, and you'll see the collision mesh is all the way over there. So we can just click collision mesh and set the rotation or the location to default. And now it should track along with it just like normal. But you can see the navigation mesh gets changed solely based on the collision mesh that we have, not our actual mesh component. And the collision mesh also allows us to pretty much use our line trace with it. So as a test, here's our door. We have the option to play it, press F, and it slides to the right like so. doesn't take our collision mesh with it. So what we're going to want to do, first off, we're going to want to hide it so it's not visible. So let's see, where would that be? Set to false and see if it'll still get picked up by the line trace, which it does. So you just have to make a little change here. We're going to disable the collision. So let's see, collision mesh should be a set collision enabled. Which one did I hit? E collision enabled, no collision. And we're also going to check, so if open animation is a valid pointer, we'll play the animation. So let's compile and give this a try. You can also probably set the visibility in the constructor as well, but no, it's not that big of a deal. And hopefully this will allow the zombies to not have to worry about our, what do you call it? Nav mesh. So I'm going to try to get the zombies to follow. Make sure they're going around it. Which they are, so press F to buy. And now they walk right through where it just was. And this door has no collision anymore, so it's going to be inside of a wall anyways, so it doesn't really matter. And that's what we want. So now that we have a functional door, we can begin actually working on our zones for the zombie spawns. So that'll be it's not really difficult to do, but we got to really kind of think about how we want to do it. So now that that's dealt with, I will see you in the next one.